and they're mistaken, because I'm definitely not going to help them later. There's actually a lot of specialized traders here, which is not good news for me. But what is good news is I think I have enough to deal with the next dungeon for now. We've leveled up, I have extra support, and I almost forgot. In addition to the item shop, there's also a scroll shop. It's a little expensive. However, if you want to use a particular element of attack skill and your gear doesn't allow it, this can really help cover for that kind of deficiency. I'm buying 2 lightning bolts and nothing else just because, I swear. It's... okay. These debuff skills are not useful in a conventional sense. Speed Charm is useful, but I picked a few of those up randomly. And... by the way, the Curse and Poison Scrolls, I just sell them. They take way too long to have any particular effect in a battle, and bosses are, of course, immune. Well, but I sidetracked myself. So, the game talked about tolerance. There's 2 general types. There's element tolerance and there's wide tolerance. And that made no sense, so I should elaborate. A lot of enemies that are strong in a particular element are immune to attacks along that elemental line. Like those magical goblins were fire element and had fire tolerance, which means they're immune to fighter skills. Okay, that's pretty easy to work around. And I'm storing this stuff because I want to use it for trading fodder later, but well, anyway, I should definitely equip those gloves. Now, the wide element defense is either just physical tolerance or just plain old magical tolerance. Yeah. Which is a pretty big pain to deal with. Those, however, are also much easier to remove. You see, the way to remove immunity is to use a spell or scroll that reduces the enemy's defense. Like, there are spells that reduce enemy fire defense, or just reduce their fire element in general, and that sort of thing. And the ones that reduce physical or magical defense are much easier to get, and much more vital if you're going to face something with tolerance against that, because, well, you haven't seen much of this game, but you can probably just imagine it from what little you've seen already. Once again, whole lot of talking. Hope that I didn't lose anyone there. Let's move to the first story dungeon that we can actually play through. So the short of it is, we will encounter stuff that's immune to magic or immune to physical, but if we know how these things work, we can actually remove that, and it makes things so much easier.
I came after reading the board, but the operator turned me back. I guess we can't play here.
Oh, you think? You think things are maybe a little off around here? Alright. So, of course we want to explore this place, and I said a bit earlier that the world, as in the game that my character is playing right now, can story-wise be considered its own kind of living, breathing place that most people only think is this just completely entertainment video game world thing. That was weird, but anyway, that's more grunty food. Once again, we don't need to know about that. And once you view the world from that viewpoint, you kind of get a, I don't know, a different attitude to this kind of wonkiness, like regions breaking down.
Thank you for playing the world. This area is currently unstable and not functioning properly due to corrupted data configurations.
Oh, right. I just looked at the exposed code through the walls and I thought there was some weird event again.
Please return to the field immediately and gate out to the town.
This is not an actual admin, by the way. It's just an automated message.
No. If I give up now, I'll never be able to help him. I must continue on.
And an automated NPC like that, which does not actually block the way into the dungeon, is... all I can say is these guys must be new at this. Oh, actually, for... Yeah, if you talk to him again while he's standing there, he says the exact same thing over and over, by the way. So, let's use more of these extremely handy buff items. I will say, though, that the admins wise up later, and after we progress in the story a bit, getting into these broken down areas where all the important stuff is happening requires more extreme measures. By the way, about the base fictional game The World, I mentioned before that it's actually kind of garbage. And the reason is, you know that little dungeon excursion we went into, or the one that Orca led us around? You take a look around the field, maybe pick up a symbol or two that gives the party a buff, go into the dungeon, and reach the treasure chest. That's all there is to the game. There is nothing else in there. That's the only gameplay there is. I said that 3 times, but because I wanted to emphasize. That's just completely outside of my understanding of video games that could possibly be as popular as The World is shown to be. Like, there are no bosses in the base game of The World, the fictional one. Everything interesting happens because of things going wrong and characters that were not supposed to be part of the base gameplay. I have no idea. No, wait. Actually, I'm thinking back to the very early role-playing games and MMOs. Stuff like Ultima Online. Well, that was mostly PvP, but... Yeah, exactly, Blue Robin. There's really nothing special. You just sort of advance your gear and go through more advanced dungeons until you hit level cap, and then I guess you just sit around talking. But enough about that. Unless someone else has more to say about it, because actually, if there's something more to add, I'd love to talk more about it. But I digress. Let's equip that magic boosting thing and try casting a spell and see how that goes. Okay. That was actually less damage than before, and I don't know why. my only guess is that it's a fire element monster, and so even though my magic power is higher, it didn't deal the... No, wait, no. That's the opposite. It would have to be weak to fire. But you... Okay, the elements are different. That's what I'm trying to talk about. Speaking of elements, there's a feature that I briefly discussed while starting up the game that I haven't gone into more detail about. So, let me go into the status screen right now. Now, to the lower right, it shows my element levels. This is your defense against attacks of that element and a boost to any attacks of that element that you throw out. It's sort of a modifier to attack and defense when that element is involved. And we're going to find, of course, enemies that are very strong in one particular element. It's displayed by a symbol. This is important because if you use a skill that's of the opposite element, of course, monsters are pretty much always low in that opposite element, so you're going to deal a pretty good amount of damage without any special help. But also, there's an additional mechanic called an elemental critical that can happen. And if that does happen, it's random. I think it's something like 50 or 60% chance of happening. But anyway, when it triggers, even strong enemies are gonna be leveled by it. Like, at the end of this particular chapter of the game, if you get an elemental critical against one of the stronger tanky enemies, it will still do like 80% of their health. So that's another one of those things where it helps to pay attention. Also, that's one of the things that your party members will react to if they pull one off. I actually really like all of the different reactions that the various characters have to things happening to them and around them. Like, they will congratulate each other on leveling up, and all of them have unique lines for all of these events, and I love touches like that. Okay, this purple aura. This means a special encounter is ahead. For this... Oh, okay, sure. Dang, you left right before I was gonna start a boss battle. I'll give it 1 minute and take some extra time to explain something. In addition to all of the interactions that I've described, all of the people that you party with actually have trust levels. And these things go up when you give them stuff and when you talk with them in emails. They also get impatient when you stand around a while, but that's actually not a big deal. And I'm glad that I did, because if I hadn't stood around, all of these buffs would have run out during the fight, and it would have been awkward. Anyway, this trust, which you obtain through bribery like most games of this generation, does not actually affect anything gameplay-wise. .hack GU is another matter entirely, but in this game, it affects your ability to see email at the end of chapters in the game, and I believe it gives you extra scenes at the very end of the game. Well, time's up. Let's go. Oh, you look familiar. So here's the thing about data drain. I haven't used it at all because at this early point in the game I need those levels, but you can't use data drain on enemies right away. you have to do a certain amount of damage. Actually, technically... Whoa! That was entirely too fast. So, obviously I do not have much time to do stuff. And this guy is darkness element, so let's try those lightning scrolls that I used. Okay, that's not bad. Yeah, so you notice the difference in magic damage right there. Remember how I said damage scaled insanely depending on how much an enemy's attack is higher than your defense? That applies to spells, of course. And it makes me wish I brought a magic defense item for Black Rose, but too late now. So, scrolls, by the way, go through a casting animation when you use them. Other items do not, even if they emulate spells. So I believe that data drain happens after a certain amount of damage and a certain number of attacks. Wow. Okay, Black Rose, you better appreciate it because these things are expensive even if I found them for free. So yeah, I'm past the damage part, and there we go, that was the number of hits part. So now let's take the shine off of this guy. I'm not going to go through that animation when I'm fighting normal enemies, but against bosses and story important stuff, yeah, it was definitely painful. That virus core, also important, and I data drained it once, but I have an opportunity, so why not do it again? So, yeah, data drain is the way that you remove the bug that causes monsters to have infinite health. When you use it on normal monsters, excuse me, you get stuff. You can get gear, or you can get virus cores, which are kind of like, who are you and where'd you come from? Anyway, virus cores are like keys that are required to advance in the story, so once you're done with the initial rush to level up, data draining enemies a lot is pretty helpful. Ahem.
I can't believe you defeated the monster by rewriting its data! How did you do that?
Now, this person is going to be kind of airheaded in a lot of ways. However, she recognized by sight what I was doing there.
Oh! Did I hit a nerve? Should I keep my mouth shut? I came because I read a post about it on the board and it sounded interesting. But this place looks so weird. Even if the data is corrupted, it's too weird.
So she sounds like she's 12 or so and she uses a lot of emotes.
Well, anyway, it seems strange things have been happening everywhere in the world.
That's kinda business as usual in the world, though.
Ever since the server failure, it's all going downhill. There's something going on. What? Oh, damn it!
Now, this one is actually a little bit more effective with the Japanese voiceover because it's more like she looks in that direction and just gives this huge blood-curdling scream, like there's something horrifying that way.
I burned dinner. Oh well, gotta go. Oh, I almost forgot. Invite me to your party next time. Let's do this again, Kay?
We didn't do anything. However, it is really nice to be able to invite her because She's the only dedicated spellcaster class in the game. There's a ton of different physical classes, but when it comes to magic, you have Wave Master and that's it. So being able to recruit one it's pretty nice.
He have fair eyes.
Huh?
That's my reaction too.
I trust your eyes. I have a favor to ask. A player I know is being harassed by a wicked monster in Delta Indiscreet Gluttonous Pilgrimage. I will vanquish the wicked monster, and I want you to bear witness. You will do that for me? You will? I knew you would say that. Oh, good. I will be waiting for you at Delta Indiscreet Gluttonous Pilgrimage. This will be good.
Yeah, that I actually like that reaction a lot. The voice actor put some feeling into that. Yeah. So, as I said, the voice acting is dodgy at times, but there are some times where I feel like it really works. Like any interaction with Piros, that guy, he really put some effort and enthusiasm into his job. I appreciate that. So that quest. I'm not 100% sure if it's required to advance the story. I think it is, but anyway. Now that we have a recruitable Wave Master, it's important to keep an eye out for good Wave Master stuff. And this hand armor, it's not too bad. I don't know why this particular player is trading it out. Maybe it has something better, I don't know. Anyway. The problem is I don't actually have any light armor to trade back. That's actually pretty serious. And no wands either, of course. So I might have to let that go. I definitely want this. So, shoes. Vitally important to collect shoes. Especially this shoe. The ability to cast the accuracy increasing spell myself instead of using items is going to be really nice. What? Oh, you're a long arm. You use medium armor, I believe. So, even if you trade out usable armor, there are limits to how garbage you can trade to someone and still get a star. And what I've been trading is extremely garbage. Like, this is stuff that you can probably buy at the NPC vendor, which is super garbage. But as long as I can get those stars somehow, I think I'll be okay. Oh, so here's this thing. You can only trade 3 different kinds of items. So I need to just carefully check 2 of these things. Probably the best 2 that I can find, and then a whole bunch of scrolls or status removal stuff. No, that's not it. I definitely don't want to trade off the burning oil. I'm gonna need that. There we go. I can now cast the accuracy up buff. And, well, only the medium armor set shoes allow you to do that. Light and heavy? No. Nope. That's one of the greatest strengths of the medium armor classes, that they can be buff machines. Oh wow, I never actually gave Black Rose that sword. I should probably do that now.
Yeah? Yeah, I'll take it. Thanks.
Right. So I wasn't actually able to trade for any Wave Master stuff, and she's probably going to be at level 1. Yeah, that's one idea, Blue Robin. Well, now I don't know exactly how long this last dungeon is going to take, but we're going to go for it anyway.